WWE Smackdown review for the October 3rd episode of Smackdown. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, episode of Smackdown was an episode of Smackdown, I would say. We'll get into that on the road to Crown Jewel here. A week and a day away from Crown Jewel. So what do we get? What story beats do we get? Do we get any more matches? We'll jump right into that.
Yeah, thank you all for stopping by the live stream once again, youtube.com/CodWrestlePod. Make sure to stop by Raw, and then we'll be Crown Jewel and everything. So it's a lot of fun there. Let's get to it, though, because Mr. Cody Rhodes starts the show in a kind of a weird opening promo here. So the second Cody gets in the ring, he says, "What do you want to talk about?" Of course, to Cincinnati. That's where we were tonight. And Paul Heyman, you hear his voice.
Boo in Cincinnati.
Oh, boo in Cincinnati. Not a Cincinnati guy. Yeah. Chiefs, all right. Anyway, Paul Heyman comes in from the announce table, like he was in the crowd. And he's like, "Yeah, Cody, what do you want to talk about?" And that's when you see that he brought Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. But then out of nowhere, Randy Orton just appears right next to Cody Rhodes. Like there was no camera work, so he's just there. It's like, oh, okay, everybody's in the ring. Here we go. What are we going to talk about? Paul Heyman and them just get on the apron, and he says that they're not even here to talk to Cody. They're here to talk to Randy because, what's happening between them, Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, that can't last forever. They're not going to be able to be a team for a long time. And he says, what happens tonight if Cody Rhodes doesn't pull off the win and he's laying there? And does Randy think differently of him? That's the undisputed champion, the guy who lost to the Vision. So that's kind of what's on stake for the match tonight with them. And he says, basically that's it. He says that's a prophecy, not a prediction, not a spoiler. That's a prophecy that tonight Cody's going to be beaten and Randy's going to look at him differently. So weird promo to open the night. I'm going to give it a drop. I think it kind of led to nothing, and I didn't like it. Wasn't good.
Yeah, I'm going to drop this as well. We talk sometimes about like, hey, we know WWE obviously loves their promos to start out the shows, but it would be nice to just get a match every once in a while. Yeah. This was one of those. This was a short one too. This was only like 10 minutes maybe, so it wasn't even that long of a promo, but just weird. We'll get into the stuff in terms of this promo and the fallout maybe with the main event. We'll get to all that stuff later, but just weird. I also didn't really need the build up. Like I already knew the match was coming. I already was like, okay, cool. We get that match. It is what it is. At 10 minutes, I could have went to something else.
Yeah. There was no build. There hasn't been like animosity being built up between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton for the past month or something. So it just felt out of left field, but nothing to sit and gripe on, right? So we would go back to the back, and Miz walks up to Mello because obviously Mello last week did not break up the pin, right? And Miz saw this and he's like, what's going on here? And Mello says they're done for good. All respect. He's not going to do anything to him, but they're done. So Mello actually goes out to accept Sami Zayn's open challenge for the U.S. title, which that match would have been amazing. Keyword would have, because Mello walks out with a mic and he starts cutting a promo and says that basically he doesn't have to deal with anybody holding him back this time around. So he's finally going to do it and show Sami Zayn why he's him. Well, The Miz comes out and gives a skull-crushing finale to Mr. Mello. Boom, done, out. And that's when, Nick Aldis and all of them are out there helping Mello, who's now laid out on the ground. And then you just see the little Aleister Black prance out there. He picks up the mic that Mello dropped after getting a Skull Crush finale. And he says, yeah, U.S. title match, I'll take it. And Sami Zayn, he has no regard for Mello's health. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm out here. I'm ready for a match. Let's have a match. So that's what we got. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned Aleister Black versus Sami Zayn U.S. title match here. This was really good, honestly. I mean, Sami Zayn just continues to put on great open challenge matches. I think it's doing wonders for the U.S. title in general. I think it's great to have on SmackDown, just smack dab in the middle of every episode, a really good match here. Aleister Black got a lot of close falls here. He had a nice thing where Sami jumped off the top rope and he met him with a knee, which was crazy. He got a 1-2 there. He even did top rope Meteora, Zelina Vega style, got the 1-2 there. But eventually, he does have Sami Zayn kind of lined up to do some damage when Damian Priest shows up. And he is just outside the ring walking around. And of course, that means Aleister Black must acknowledge that he's there. That led to Sami Zayn running over there, giving him a haluva kick into the Blue Thunder Bomb, which I guess is now his 1-2 punch finisher. 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn gets the win. Damian Priest did end up giving Aleister Black a nice razor's edge through the announce table. And we find out later that they will have a last man standing match. next week's SmackDown. So I'm going to give this a pop because I thought it was all fun. I loved it, the match. I am going to also give it a drop because I really wanted to see Melo versus Sami Zayn, but we'll get that in the future, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get that in the future. Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. I talked a little bit about when Aleister Black came out tonight. It's been hard for me to kind of resonate or connect to the character, connect to Aleister Black. When the bell rings, you're going to get a phenomenal match, and that's what you got here. So it really kind of works here in the open challenge sense. Like the bell rings, I don't have to really worry about anything. These two put on a good match. It's also nice to see them throw a curveball that we didn't really see coming. Like some people complain, hey, we know who's going to be Sami's opponent before he comes out there. So it was nice to throw a curveball, a little gotcha there. And then Damian Priest versus Aleister Black next week, last man standing. That sounds cool. It's a feud that hasn't really clicked for me, but last man standing match is always great. So
yeah, there's not much else to say. I really like the Sami Zayn stuff. I just said that I absolutely love what they're doing with the Open Challenge Weekly. I think the matches themselves have lived up to it. Would have loved to see Melo involved in this, but now this leads to maybe a triple threat match with Miz, Melo, Sami down the way, or just more Miz in the ring. So I like what's going to come from that eventually. And then Damian Priest, Aleister Black, I'm with you. I'm not very into it. I'm not really liking either of them really. I'm kind of it's whatever, right? Both of them come out and I'm just like, it's whatever. But a last man standing match next week will be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. It's a win-win, right? Then we would go backstage and Chelsea Green and Alba Fire have walked up to Zaruka and they've offered them positions in the Secret Service, which of course Sol and Zarya say no to, which leads to us getting an actual match between the two teams later in the night, which was absolutely awesome. And that's what we get here is Chelsea and Alba Fire taking on Zaruka. These guys are stars. They get a huge entrance. They gave them the full entrance and they look amazing. They are amazing. Shorter match here, which was a little bit surprising, but they did their thing. Zarya looked really good at the beginning, destroying people. She had Alba Fire in that chokehold where she's like on the top rope, giving her the choke, which is absolutely great. Sol would get a little beat up throughout the match a little bit, but eventually Zarya throws Alba Fire into the barricade and Sol is able to reverse the unpretty her and hit the Soul Snatcher and get the 1, 2, 3 over Chelsea Green. So Zaruka make their SmackDown in-ring debut. They take out Chelsea and Alba Fire. Looks like they have their eye set on Charlexa. Give me that any day of the week. I'm popping all of this. Popping it.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to pop this match. It was fun and it's exciting. And, when Zaruka comes out there, there's just teams or people, even with like Javon Evans, like these NXT call-ups that are kind of slowly happening on SmackDown. You just feel it. Like it feels different, right? And they felt like stars tonight. The match being quick was fine with me. Doesn't really, like if there was a longer match, I wouldn't sit here being like, oh, because what do you kind of expect, right? We know Chelsea and Alba are there just for the comedy and kind of put people over. So they got the highlights. They mentioned NXT Tuesday is NXT versus TNA stuff. So that's great stuff. Just give me more of this. And then with them feuding with maybe Charlexa, that sounds great. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. That's an established tag team. Maybe some fans on the main roster of like Raw and SmackDown, maybe they don't know who they are because the crowd was a little silent throughout the match tonight. But with time, that'll change.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Right away, you look at like Sol versus Charlotte on paper, just not even bringing up the tag teams. That is going to be a future big time match down the line. Zaruka, they belong on SmackDown. The call-ups of Zaruka and Javon Evans, for that matter, are all perfect right away on SmackDown. I think they all fit in perfectly. I'm very excited that we're going to get like another prominent tag team in the women's division. That's something to be very excited about. And they are more of like an actual like established tag team that does like tag team maneuvers and stuff, which is really fun. Sol looks like $1 million on SmackDown's roster. This is going to be great. Do that tag team match whenever you want, man, because that's going to be a great feud. Mm-hmm. Even after the match, Charlexa actually called him out and said they looked impressive, but they're going to have to earn it. So we're getting there. They did get Kathy Kelly to woo though.
Mm-hmm. Charlotte did. Charlotte wanted Alexa to woo. Alexa didn't want to woo.
Party pooper. We would get Randy and Cody. They cut backstage. This was weird. They cut backstage to Randy and Cody, and Cody walked up to Randy and was like, "We good?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course we're good. We're just gonna ignore Paul Heyman. Like, I got your back." And we're like, "Okay, cool." That was that.
Yeah, Cody like looked around for a second. And I was like, "Ooh, somebody else is coming in." Nobody came in.
Nothing. Then another sort of weird segment here. We would get Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie Vaquer doing their contract signing for their champion versus champion match here at Crown Jewel next weekend. And they just respected each other during the contract signing. So typical WWE contract signing. They got the table. Nick Aldis is out there. They got, everything's there. And Steph cuts a promo that basically says that she respects Tiff, but she's going to show her that she's not going to lose anytime soon. And then Tiffy was like, it's always Tiffy time. It doesn't matter if it's here or in Australia, right? And then we just pose and we're like, what the hell? Tiffany leaves the ring first. And then all of a sudden, Julia actually does pop up and attack Tiffany. And we're like, oh. And Kiana takes the mic, of course, because they don't allow Julia to speak for some reason. And Kiana's like, don't sign the contract too quickly or whatever. Like,
don't notarize it.
Don't
make it official. Basically.
Don't make it official. And we're like, oh, okay, ears perk up. What does she mean by this? Julia's a champion. Don't notarize the contract. Maybe we work in a 3-way championship thing going on here. Nope. Kiana James just tries to recruit Stephanie. She's like, I can make you prestigious, as Stephanie is standing there with the Women's World Championship. Tiffy obviously gets up. She pulls Kiana out of the ring, and Steph goes for her finisher on Julia, but Julia slides away, and Kiana James and Julia, they get away from them. And next week we are getting a tag team match of Tiff and Steph versus those two. But this is a weird segment. I mean, I'm excited to see Julia out there, but yeah, this is just weird. Kiana James saying basically nothing. It's just a big setup for next week's match. Whatever. I'm gonna give it a drop. It was weird.
Yeah. I'm dropping this as well. I would have liked a little bit. I mean, I guess it's tough because you have two baby faces right now. I would have liked one of them to maybe kind of take specifically Tiffany Stratton to be a little bit more heelish probably in her promo tonight. I understand that she is a baby face, but in this feud, she could be the heel for a couple of weeks. That's not going to really do anything. It's not going to harm anything. And then she can just go back to being the face that she is. I've wanted a little bit more edgier stuff from Tiffany, and we didn't get that tonight. Nothing really to write home about. I don't know why they're having the contract signing, because we've already established that the match is going to happen anyway. So it's just like hey, put them on TV to say that we're trying to build this, but in the end, there's nothing really being built.
Right. That's the thing. Is it actually that bad? Should we be this negative about it? Probably not. But it's one of those things where you see Tiffany Stratton versus Stephanie Vaquer with 3 weeks of build able to happen. And you go, something cool could be done there, right? A little bit of something could be done here to get a little bit more spice going into this champion versus champion match. I mean, we're seeing it with Seth and Cody. I mean, I know they have tons more history, but you could at least try something. And instead it's just nothing. We're just going to get two faces fighting heels in a tag team match one day before their match. It's okay, you're not trying enough, honestly.
Yeah. And you're getting some weird backstage. Well, I shouldn't say weird backstage promos, but you're getting backstage promos that don't really bring a lot to the table. Yeah. This didn't bring a lot to the table, the contract signing in and of itself. And then you have somebody like Julia who has been used wrong anyway with her title run. You're like, oh, just throw her out there. And it's well, that doesn't help anybody either. So it's just a mess of just weirdness. Something, at least maybe this week, hopefully we get some sort of maybe video package or something that could maybe help it out.
We're falling over our words because it was weird. It was just weird, right? We would get a Jacob Fatu hype video, basically. He was screaming at the camera, basically calling out Drew. I mean, he's, all gas, no brakes. He's coming for Drew McIntyre. Looking forward to it, right? Then we would get a fun little match. We find out that Nick Aldis and Javon Evans are talking before the show tonight, and Nick Aldis didn't make it official that Javon got called up, but he basically said, hey, deal with Showdown this week on NXT, and then, you and I can stay in touch. And that's when Rey Fenix walked up and was like, you look really good last week. I want to fight you. And Javon's like, yeah, I'll do a match. Why not? But that's when the Garzas walked up and they're like, no, we don't like you guys, so we want to get into a fight with you. And Nick Aldis is like, whoa, I have a Smackdown to book tonight. That's a match. So we get that match. And this thing was awesome. Randomly thrown together, but Rey Fenix and Javon Evans as a tag team. Javon is, filling that Andrade gap that they now got on SmackDown's tag team, and he filled it great, man. I mean, these two were absolutely awesome. They did dual suicide dives. I mean, the boys bouncy, as we all know. It's awesome. But even the Garzas looked great in this match. There's even one where one of the Garzas were holding Rey Fenix, and then also they put Javon Evans on top of it. It was weird, and then springboard kick to his face. It was a crazy move. But eventually we would get a OG cutter while Rey Fenix was hitting the other one with his finisher, a 1, 2, 3. Javon and Rey Fenix get the win here. I'll pop it. man, Javon Evans is ready to be called up. He's ready to be a mainstay on SmackDown. And honestly, if they want to keep him in this Rey Fenix, Javon Evans tag team, and they want to go for the tag team titles on SmackDown, sign me up any day of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. How could you not? I mean, this is a match with a great tag team and then kind of a thrown together tag team, but two great individual wrestlers. So you knew it was going to be fun. You knew it was going to be athletic. What can we see here? Javon Evans even had a cool dive to the outside that I don't know how he does that, but it's insane. I don't know if the tag team of them will stick. Like you said, he is filling that Andrade role, but who knows if that continues or not, or maybe he's just a singles guy. But either way, the more Javon Evans we get on TV, I'm always going to pop that. I'm always going to be excited for that. So it doesn't really matter to me like what he's involved in because I'm still just going to watch.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the life that I think the SmackDown tag team division kind of needs right now. Like, we had that little bit for the past few months where it's just random tag team shenanigans, and that's kind of fizzled out a little bit. They've done a little bit with the Street Profits and the Wyatt Six and stuff, but a Javon Evans, like, bolt of life into that tag division would be absolutely spectacular. It's one of those things where the tag titles aren't treated as being, like, really prestigious anyway. They can kind of hot potato no matter what. So I think you should really do this. You should do it, like, quickly and just kind of give him the belts for a little bit, get Javon, being a mainstay on like the main audience's eyes, and then you can have him drop it and maybe go do single stuff. But Javon needs to be a part of SmackDown because he's ready and he looks great on it. Then Damian Priest, we already talked about the match, but I have to mention, man, he's backstage with Kathy Kelly. Kit Wilson rolls up in his wheelchair because of course he got beat up the last couple weeks by Damian Priest, and he was calling him out for toxic masculinity or whatever the hell Kit Wilson's new character is. But he got up out of his chair. Damian's like, oh my God, it's a miracle. Look, you got up. You are a very strong man. But then he just pushes Kit Wilson back into his wheelchair. And then there's a ramp right behind him. And Damian just shoves him down the ramp. And he just goes all the way down. And you hear him hit all the metal beams. It was like old school, stupid WWE days. I'm going to give it a pop. I thought it was that funny.
I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah,
It was just fun. Yeah. I see the ramp there, and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna push.
Yeah, you called it.
They're gonna push this man down there, and it's just funny. And that's when you find out you get the last man standing stuff. So yeah, I don't really know what the new character they're going for with Kit Wilson's going to be, but he seems to be a thorn in Damian Priest's side right now. A little like I guess like a fly, like get away from me sort of thing. But this was fun.
Yeah, nothing more to say.
Super quick.
Solo continued his hype packages for all his boys. This week it was Tala Tonga who said, I love you, Solo. So we heard the man talk, but Solo did say that they're missing one more piece. I'm guessing that's Tama Tonga. I don't really know, but
MFTs, somebody we don't know yet.
MFTs are doing what the MFTs do, which is kind of just nothing at the moment. Then we would get Street Profits and B-Fab. They were basically saying that they're all good going into their tag team championship match, which is happening next week on SmackDown. But they were conveniently placed in front of a flat screen TV backstage. And the flat screen TV started to shake and move. And it was the Wyatt Six on there. The Wyatt Six were basically saying what they've been saying for the past couple weeks, saying that like, oh, when we get to the match, are things going to stick? Are you guys going to glue together? Are you guys going to break apart? So are the Street Profits maybe going to break up next week on SmackDown? Is it finally going to happen? The Street Profits, poof, kaput.
I think so. I think next week is going to be the time that it happens. I think Dawkins is going to be the one that does it. He had a look in his eyes tonight of just like not care. He wasn't really there. And then when he did look at Montez, he looked mad. He looked upset. And so I know they say they're going to do it together. They've had some tough times over the years, which I haven't really seen. But, for the storyline, yes, so I'll agree with you there. But yeah, I think it is next week. I think it does end up costing them. And I don't think they win the tag titles next week.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. And my opinion is I think the story to get there is dumb, but I've been wanting this for like freaking years, man. I think Dawkins and I forget his name. Montez. I don't know why I forgot his name. I think Dawkins and Montez are both spectacular. And I think this is actually long overdue. I think they both can be very capable on their own solo wise, especially Montez Ford. I think that man is just the absolute best. He can go after Sami Zayn's US title right away if you wanted to. I think that would be absolutely spectacular. He's got all the charisma in the world. So while I don't necessarily like the story that they're telling to get them to break up, I'm more just looking forward to just like letting it happen and then seeing what we get after it, because I think that these guys can absolutely shine.
Yeah. I think that US title, that open challenge would be a great spot for him to maybe pencil in. Maybe he gets that win. That'd be huge. I mean, that would be huge for him.
Don't get my hopes up like that, bro. Then we get our main event, which Cody Rhodes actually came out before the Street Profits segment. So he was just sitting in the ring watching it. I would love to see a reaction video. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton taking on Braun and Bronson. No, this is not Raw.
By the way, he was out there for that long and he didn't sign that kid's sign.
Yeah, the kid got crazy. He got his sign.
They had to wait till he came back on TV to sign that.
No, this is not Monday Night Raw. It's Friday Night Smackdown, and the Vision are still main eventing it. I know, but we will get Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton taking on Braun and Bronson, and it did start out pretty cool. Braun Breaker and Randy Orton spilled to the outside, and Braun went for that like apron clothesline over the announce table that he does, but Randy moved out of the way, caught him, and then slammed him on top of the announce table. But then
you're not going to mention that Paul Heyman ran by.
Paul did sprint by. Paul was athletic tonight. That's an athletic beast, Paul Heyman. But anyway, right after that, Paul does just start to distract the ref, and Bronson Reed's able to get involved, and they do end up slamming Randy on it. And Cody Rhodes, instead of going to help Randy, starts to like yell at the ref and is like, "Come on, ref, be better." It's like, just go out there and beat him up, bro. Like, it's a wrestling match. Anyway, Cody would get a hot tag, and he would get a lot of offense in, but they beat the hell out of him too. So the Vision still looks, they're being booked very strongly. They really are. It's good stuff. But toward the end of the match here, you get Braun Breaker and Cody Rhodes spilling out to the outside of the ring, and Braun's able to throw him against the post, and he kind of stumbles up against the barricade. Well, Braun Breaker gets on the apron and like does a full running sprint, dives off like a knee splash into Cody Rhodes through the freaking barricade. And Randy's able to kind of get the advantage of Bronson Reed in the ring. But then Paul Heyman, athletic beast that he is, starts climbing to the top rope. And the ref's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And that gives a random guy who we don't know is going to be there, Mr. Seth Rollins. He's all of a sudden in the ring, stomps Randy Orton. And of course, that means Bronson Reed goes to the top rope, hits the tsunami, gets the 1, 2, 3 on Randy Orton and gets the pin. Seth does call them all into the ring to give a good pose. But then on their way out, Braun and Bronson want to go back in and can take care of business some more. And Seth says, no, no, no. But then we get to walking up the ramp a little bit, and Cody's now back in the ring helping Randy Orton. He's in perfect stomping position. I mean, he's just tempting Seth Rollins at this point. And Seth starts to turn, and Paul Heyman's like pleading with Seth Rollins. And Paul's like, "Don't do it. Don't do it. He's in your head. Don't do it." And Seth's like, "Screw you. I'm going." He's in stomp position. And Seth sprints into the ring, goes for the stomp, but Cody too quick with it, gets out of the way, catches Seth Rollins, crossroads. Boom, boom, boom. So SmackDown ends with Seth Rollins getting cross-roaded by Cody Rhodes because Cody Rhodes is officially in Seth Rollins' head. Pop the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm going to pop the aftermath with the Rollins and Cody stuff. The match itself, the whole thing in the opening promo was to talk about, well, Randy, how do you feel towards Cody when Cody takes the pin, but then Randy takes the pin? Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe Randy does some soul searching, I guess. I don't know. That part seems kind of weird to me. But the stuff afterwards in terms of Seth going for the upper hand, calling off Braun and Bronson, I really like that stuff. And then Cody once again getting the upper hand to once again tell us like, hey, Seth Rollins maybe can't do this on his own like he claims to, like he says he needs to be, like he says he needs to do. So that part is really exciting to me. I really enjoy that. Not much more time until Crown Jewel. We get maybe a couple more seeds planted here, but that was all good stuff there at the end.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really cool that Seth Rollins was like backing away the Vision. Like he was like, "This is my business. Like I want to handle the Cody Rhodes stuff," which is pretty cool to see. But then also he Cody's in his head. And so he had to run back there and try to get the stomp, which ended up costing him. Interesting part was Paul Heyman pleading with Seth Rollins. He was like, "No, no, no, don't do it." So Paul Heyman obviously sees something that, is causing frustration in Seth Rollins' head that Cody Rhodes is doing to him. So you still do have those questions of like, well, who really is a true leader? Because obviously Paul can see things that Seth Rollins can't even see. So it's just really good Vision storytelling here. We only had a few weeks to build this Seth Cody story up for a gimmicky champion versus champion match that we do force ourselves into at Crown Jewel. And it's really, really been good. I'm excited for all of it, man. They're doing good stuff.
Yeah, they really could have just relied on the champion versus champion and hey, here's their history. And they've done that a little bit, but they've added some stuff and added some tweaks here and there that really make you excited for this match.
Yeah, good. Decent episode of SmackDown. We gave it 10 pops to 6 drops. So, yeah, I mean, it was just C.
Yeah, I think depending on who you ask, they might have 10 to 6. They might have 6 to 10. I think it really just depends on Who you ask?
Yeah. Started out a little weird. Had some weird spots in there. I wish Tiffany and Steph are getting better storylines here, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyway, so we popped the whole episode. Thank you guys for stopping by our live stream, youtube.com/COD WrestlePod. We do SmackDown, Raw, and PLEs like Crown Jewel early in the morning next week, so please come join. And then for everything else, it's at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio. It'll take you to all of our socials. Please make sure to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, because we're confident that you'll love our content. But I'm Will. That's Brandon with the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. We will see you next time.